Hi, I'm Stephanie,
And I'm Justy.
and together we're losing it. We've each lost over 100 pounds with the help of diet, exercise, and breaking bad habits. And I also had weight loss surgery in 2020.
And I recently had skin removal surgery.
We're just sharing our journey and what we've learned throughout the process.
And we're not doctors, so if you have any medical questions, reach out to your doctor.
Welcome back, friends. We are here for another episode, and we're going to do things a little bit differently today. I am going to kick off by just asking for, first of all, thanking everybody who's joined us thus far into what, 37, 38, I don't remember off the top of my head, episodes, but we definitely appreciate, everyone's support. And then just asking if you do enjoy the podcast, follow us on Instagram if you don't already at We Are Losing It. And, give us a like here on YouTube or whichever podcast platform you listen to, a like, a share, a follow, a download, anything you can to just help support us. We don't make anything off of this. We just do this because we're passionate about it. And the best way that you could give back to us is just to, give us some support in that aspect. So I'm going to start out with that. Next, I want to lead into our podcast that we recently did on motivation.
Mhm.
We were pretty inspired by it ourselves, and it's grown into a monster of its own. And after Justin and I talked some more, we just thought it would be a really good idea to kind of piggyback off of that and branch out in the next couple of episodes with some of our thoughts behind the whole motivation thing. Because whether you struggle with motivation now, which we still do in our everyday, and we've been talking about that a lot on our Instagram as we come across our own challenges. But if you don't currently, you have in the past, and if you haven't, up until now, you probably will in the future. Everybody struggles with it at some point in some way, shape, or form. And so we kind of broke it down. And what we want to talk about today is we've done a podcast episode on finding your why, but we're going to touch a little bit on finding your why now because that's super important. Number one step into getting out of that motivation rut. And then also like what your struggles are, your struggle, why you're struggling. And so with that being said, I'm going to kick it over to Justy to kind of give us a little bit of head work around why. Why is it important to have a why? And what are we looking for there when we're trying to get out of this like motivation rut?
Yes. So, as we talked about on our motivation podcast, that was a couple of podcasts ago, we gave you the definition of motivation. So, I want to go over that real quick because that's where this kind of all stems from. And it's the reason or reasons one has for acting or behaving in a particular way. So, you have to have a reason, and a reason is a why. So, if you don't have that, and your why has to be really stronger than your circumstance or stronger than um, it just has to be strong, and you have to have a why for multiple different scenarios, right? So, but you can't, your why isn't going to come for all the scenarios. You just have to build your why. And so coming up with that bigger why, and we have some prompting questions that we'll ask, and we're going to ask each other, but you can ask them to yourself to kind of come up with that base why. And then as you find your struggles in your journey to get to your most, what you want most of your future self, then you can kind of build different whys for different scenarios, if that makes sense. So I'll
Yeah,
give
it's
you
like building the base, like the
yeah,
base layer of a cake. Like it's got to be strong.
right. And so my why is because I want to be healthy, but that's kind of big. And so over the years, I've had to break it down. And so, but in this moment, when I want a piece of pizza or I don't want to go to the gym, my why of being healthy isn't enough, right? It's not bigger than the situation that I'm in. So I really need to have an arsenal of whys, like because I want to be healthy, because I want to look sexy in my clothes, because I want to feel confident, because I want to live to 100, because I want to move in a certain way. And I want to have all these wins of the pride I feel when making a good decision. So it's kind of now I have an arsenal, and then it's kind of like when I'm not feeling, and we all know that motivation isn't a feeling, but when I'm not motivated, then I'm like, I have all these reasons why to continue to go, instead of excuses why not to do whatever it is I set out to do.
Right. And I think when we talked about our whys way back when, my why was also ultimately being healthy. But when I set out to have my weight loss surgery, it was right around the same time, right after I got married, actually, is when I had my surgery. And so for me, I had a family, instant family. I've got stepkids, I have my husband, and I just didn't like the way I was living my life on the sidelines. And so my ultimately my big why was so I could do more with my family and show up with my family and be there versus just taking pictures or saying I don't want to, I don't really like roller coasters, so I'll just watch you guys, that kind of stuff. So that was like my big why. But when you really break it down, because I think you made a really good point, like that's not that why isn't really, while it is strong, it's not strong enough when I'm standing in front of the pantry with 4 boxes of Girl Scout cookies looking at me, because those are pretty strong.
Right. I
And so
out cookies today too. So
yeah, so you have to like, it has to be strong. Like it's kind of like having a goal. Like you can have a goal of like I want to lose 100 pounds, but like what's going to get you to that 100 pounds? It's the little things. And so you just have to break down into like your smaller things. So like yes, ultimately healthy for my family, but also that means like the small wins or like the NSVs that come along with it, like getting on the roller coaster, like roller skating, like being able to go up and down the steps or walking around an amusement park. All of those little things become like the big why. So for
mhm.
me, when I'm standing there in front of the pantry looking at 4 delicious boxes of Girl Scout cookies, I just remind myself of how easy it was for me to do 4 loads of laundry today up and down 2 flights of stairs, where I wouldn't have
Right.
been able to do that had I eaten a sleeve of Thin Mints. So
And your why, is, for me, my why is kind of like a bigger picture, thing. And then I have my smaller whys, when I'm trying to get through a struggle. And it's kind of the same thing as, like, I've talked about it before, like having a what do you want most mindset. And so what do you want most in this moment is the same thing as a why. It's a smaller step to that bigger picture. And so when you're starting, a lot of people are like, well, I just don't know why I want to do this or why. So there's some questions and some prompts that you can ask yourself. And I think I really did ask myself these questions without really, like, in a very unstructured way. But I think
it's all up here.
yeah, like it's all in my brain. But we can help if you're struggling with your why. We can help you with some of these prompts. And I think the first thing is really just whether you're a journaler or not. I am not.
Neither am
Steph
I.
not. I do make lists sometimes, whatever. But I did do this one. Like, what is your future self? What does your future self do? Who is she? Because you're obviously not 100% satisfied with who you are right now. I know I wasn't when I was 300 pounds. I was satisfied in a lot of ways, but I wasn't in a lot of ways. And so those ways that I wasn't satisfied, like, what is it that, who am I? And am I an athlete in my future? Am I somebody who keeps a promise to myself? Am I somebody who sets boundaries around food, which will lead to setting boundaries around all the other stuff in your life? Am I someone who works through urges instead of giving into them? So all of that stuff, that's you building your arsenal of reasons why instead of excuses why not.
And I think some of that changes over the years too, because when you mentioned, am I an athlete? Like, I don't think my 300-pound mindset, picturing my future self, would have ever thought that I'd be I've always gone to the gym. And actually, my husband and I talked about this yesterday when we were hiking, because, like I said, and I know, Justy, you're the same way. No one could have ever called us lazy, even at
Mm-mm.
300 pounds. We went to the
Oh,
gym. I did body pump when I was 300 pounds, and I do it now at, 175. It's just, we found a love for things, and that was inside of the gym, outside of the gym. But I don't think I would have ever thought of myself. I don't think I could envision myself to even think of it, to even put it down on paper. I think I want my future self to be an athlete. It was never even a thought for me. It wasn't until the weight started to shift and I started to become more fit and able to do things that I was like, holy shit, like I'm a
Mhm.
runner. Like I
Right.
just never, you know better than anyone else knows. I never would have thought that. I couldn't even wrap my brain around it. So your why is going to shift through the years as you drop 10 pounds, 20 pounds, 30 pounds when you're making, whether it be faster because of weight loss medications or surgery or whatever the case, or if it's slower where it's one, positive choice after another where you slowly take this weight off. When you start to see kind of milestones of like 50 pounds, 75 pounds, and you're seeing your new body and you're realizing you can do different things, that why is going to change. So when it started out in the beginning of just being healthy,
Mhm.
envisioning something like being an athlete or being a runner is something that becomes a reality when you're able to actually start to do it. Just even the littlest start, because in the beginning, it would have never been a priority of mine or a thought of mine.
Right. I agree. And, I've always been um, overly confident in my abilities.
Mhm.
So I did say, like, when I remember doing body pump when I was 300 pounds, I did say, I'm going to teach this someday. Like, that's going to be what I do. And so another thing that goes along with your future self is identifying those areas in your life where you're feeling a little less adequate, I guess, and then figuring out who you want to be and how you want to change those. But then also it's like, how do you feel? Like, I wanted to feel pride in my decisions instead of somebody who was constantly feeling like I was upset with the decision I made in all areas of my life. So I wanted that pride of, I know I can do this, even though I know I can do it, but I would make decisions with food, with alcohol, with men, with
Mhm.
spending money that I wasn't proud of. And, did it devastate me? No, but it was one area I wanted to feel pride. I wanted to feel energy. I wanted to feel sexy. Like, I went out this weekend and listen, I put it on my Instagram, so you should follow
I
just to see.
saw it. Yeah.
I had this bodysuit on that was really low cut, and I felt fucking awesome. And I haven't felt that. I haven't gone out and felt like sexy and appealing without body image issues since my surgery. I just haven't allowed myself to. And so those are all the things, like, as you start winning or seeing a little bit of that feeling, you just want more, like, and more and more. And so really asking yourself, like, how do I want to feel? How am I feeling now that doesn't feel good? And then the opposite of that is hopefully what you want to feel in the future. Are you feeling tired? Are you feeling unmotivated? Are you feeling all of this stuff? Then your answer to that is energetic. I want to be motivated. I want to be consistent. I want to feel pride, that sort of thing.
Yeah, and I think, yeah, definitely new little things will keep popping up. And the funny thing is, too, as you were talking, going out before, because you used to go out and salsa dance and all that stuff, you always had the cutest dresses and you did it up and you wore heels even then.
Yeah.
But I feel like when we did things like that at like 300 pounds, because we could still look super cute, we did it in a louder way, if that makes sense. Like this, you were able to put this outfit on and go out and just be like, I don't, normal for lack of better terms, and I'll get into a little bit more, but you're able to be like out and kind of normal with yourself versus where we would have done it before and had to have been like the loudest people there to draw the attention to ourselves. And
Right.
now, once you reach that kind of confident state to where you can put this outfit on and feel really proud of yourself and feel really proud of the work you've done and how you look and how you feel, you didn't have to go out there and be the loudest. You were seen.
And I didn't, yes, I was seen and I was seen. and,
Yes.
and also, and I told Steph this earlier, and this is a little bit off the subject, but there was a pride that I felt not seeking attention from a
Yeah.
man. I dressed that way because I felt great. I went home alone and I felt great about it. I didn't have the need to, like, get that validation from a man because I've validated myself. And so that was a very powerful thing when I came
Yeah.
home. It was like, man, like, I went out, men flirted with me or talked to me or didn't look me in the eyes.
Mm.
And I could see that I was being paid attention to, but I also carried myself in a way where I wasn't seeking them to validate me, if that makes
Right.
sense. So
Yes.
it was
Because
how
300-pound Justy or Steph would have been wearing that low cut, seeking the attention, and trying to take somebody home. Sorry,
climbing,
Mom. But
right, waking up with someone.
who knows who? But that, I mean, but that is just that's how we got our attention. And I hate to say it, but it's kind of sad now when I look back at it, because there is a better way. There's
Mhm.
a way better way. And it's just in loving yourself first. And that brings me to one of the prompts that you have, because we are we're putting together a workshop for this, so we can
Mhm.
help other women, through their struggles with motivation too. But one of the prompts there is, how do you talk to yourself? And I think
Yeah.
that that's huge, because how 300-pound Justy would have talked to herself in an outfit that revealed some or whatever, and how you probably would have picked yourself apart in the mirror 65 times before going out and seeking validation from a man,
Mhm.
or anybody that you could get attention from. Versus this time, it's like, damn, like I look good, I feel good, like you just feel good. And so,
Right.
but that just doesn't come overnight. It comes with a lot of mental training on how to speak to yourself,
Mhm.
and the mosts, and what do you want most, and you turning away a sleeve of Thin Mints in order to pursue your goal.
Right. And it was interesting because that feeling that I had of confidence is not, and I put this on our Instagram, it's not because I'm thinner now, and it's not because I had skin removal surgery. It's all of the mental work I did to get there, as I went through the weight loss, as I went through the recovery of the skin removal, as I've now started to really, and this sounds weird, but to see my body as a woman,
Hmm.
because I never had a womanly body in my mind. It was fat. It was rolls. Went from rolls to skin hanging. And I never knew what it felt like to have a, in my mind, like a beautiful, normal, feminine body. And that is worth every sleeve of Thin Mints that I put aside,
Right.
me going. But it's very lonely getting there, and it's a lot of work, and it's a lot of messing up. Not really messing up, but it's a lot of making a choice that doesn't align with your goals, and then reevaluating, okay, why did I do this? What am I going to do next time? What is going to be my arsenals of mosts and whys? How am I going to speak to myself? How am I going to learn to just let that decision be what it was and move on with the next best choice? Like, it's just a constant dialogue that is easier for me now. But if you want to get to whatever your goal is, or your why is, it has to be constant and consistent, and you've got to learn to do the mental work
Right.
behind it.
And I think more so than a lot of mistakes, and you may refer to them as mistakes, as you start to learn to talk to yourself better, you won't, but a lot of work. It's a lot of work. There is no silver bullet to this. There just isn't. Not because what are we? We're 47, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so for 30, 40 years of our life,
We were overweight.
we were overweight. Well,
Mm-hmm.
technically, I'm still overweight,
Oh,
but
you.
we were obese. Like since
Mm-hmm.
childhood, I was obese, and like it doesn't happen overnight. Not even I had weight loss surgery. It still did not happen overnight. It took me 2.5 years to hit my goal weight after surgery. 2.5 years. It doesn't have it, and the weight will come off, and it'll come off, and it'll come off, and you're like, this is great. And then it slows down, and then it starts to creep back up, because I didn't do the work that I needed to do. I thought I had this surgery and I'm good. Well, it doesn't work that way. There's still the mental, like I can still eat anything I want. I don't have food aversions. I eat a little bit less of it, but I can still eat anything that I want. So if I don't do that mental work, then I'm going to put myself right back to where I was before, which is why you hear the stories of people who have weight loss surgery. Oh, my cousins, teachers, brothers, I don't know, nephew had the surgery and gained all their weight back. We've heard it all 100 times. That's why, because the mental part was never done. And so even though you've had surgery, that still isn't the magic bullet. weight loss medication still isn't the magic bullet. You still have to put the work in. You still have to move your body. You still have to make wise choices. I still ate pizza yesterday, you know, it's like it's
I,
balanced though.
I had the best, let me tell you, I went to church and then I had a Culver's
Mm,
Butterburger.
yeah.
Let me tell you, it was amazing. But I made that choice in the morning. I knew when I did
Mhm.
my plan, I was going to church and there's a Culver's there, and I've been looking at it for the last 3 Sundays. And I was like, that's what I'm doing.
Right,
And that was it. I didn't beat
right,
myself up. I didn't like go off the rails for the rest of the day. I didn't do any of that. I simply had a burger.
right.
Like
And
it's
that's
okay.
the same for like I knew we were going to New York to go like camping and hiking. And if I'm gonna be in New York, I'm gonna get pizza. Not that we were in the city, but New York in general has decent pizza. So we just looked up pizza places in the area, looked at ratings, looked at pictures to make sure it's like what we want. Went to this place, and when I tell you the slice of pizza was bigger than my head, I'm not kidding. And I ate one slice. That's all I could eat. I
Mm-hmm.
ordered two. I ate one. The other one came home. I ate it today. I did eat both of my slices, and I don't feel guilty about it because I put the work in every day. And I knew going on that trip, we were getting pizza on the way home. I knew that.
Mm-hmm.
And but we also put a lot of work in over the weekend. Not that I'm saying that you have to work out to counterbalance the food, but at the same time, like it's okay. It is okay. Like I did a 5K, I did 6 miles worth of hiking. It is okay to have two slices of pizza. I didn't hurt myself. I didn't
Right.
like derail my whole trip. Even if I didn't do all of that physical work, it's still okay to have two slices of pizza.
Never been about the pizza. At the end of
Right.
the day, it is, but it's about how we thought about it. It's about how we deprived ourselves, and then we would overeat, or we would binge, or we'd beat ourselves up, or we'd talk to ourselves like shit because we ate a piece of pizza. I don't do that anymore.
Right.
And so that's the difference. I eat the pizza and I move the fuck on.
Right.
And the next thing I eat is going to be a choice that I planned that fits into my maintenance goals. And so we talk about how weight loss is a struggle. It is. It's something that is work. It is something that is hard and it is slow, but it is worth it.
Hmm.
And we talk about every single thing that I can think. Every day when I wake up, I'm so thankful that I put in the work. I never said, "Oh my God, that wasn't worth it. Fuck, let me go back to 300 pounds." Shit.
Right. Right.
No, no, it's so worth it. But it's how you get there. If you get there through white knuckling and beating yourself up and being an asshole to yourself, you're not going to feel
It's
the glory.
stressful. Yeah, that's stressful and dramatic. Yeah.
It's just stressful. And so it's kind of like another element of you finding your why is so important. Why am I doing this? Breaking it down to smaller whys, figuring out what your whys are in each moment, and figuring those whys out in each moment are really come once you've identified where you're struggling. Sometimes we just mindfully go along life and we don't even realize what we're doing. I ate so much food that I didn't even think about. I just didn't think about it. I wasn't mindful of it. I wasn't like, yeah, just let me eat this pizza and beer. I never thought that it was like not okay. So it's kind of
Or
like
when we're on an all you can eat cruise and all you can drink cruise to just like get my money's worth out of it.
right, shit. So our mindset has completely changed, right? And
Mhm.
so, but it didn't happen overnight. And so really figuring out, okay, what is my why? And then everything I'm doing is aligning with that. So I want to be healthy. I want to live long. I want to lose weight. I want to look sexy, whatever. So when I wake up in the morning, how is my day going to align with that? And putting a plan together. And then when you get to the gym, then you need to do the work that goes along with that. When you're eating
Right.
your meal, you need to make the choices that go along with that. And then in those choices, when you're struggling, I struggle at night. Man, I struggle at night. And
Me
at
too.
night, and I are chilling out, got a little fire in the fireplace. There's Girl Scout cookies in the cupboard, or really, honestly, anything, because you can overeat on healthy food. If you're eating when you're not hungry and you're eating past full, you're eating too much.
Right.
Um, so,
Healthy or not, you can overeat a salad.
so that's where I struggle, and so that's when I bring out my what do I want most. So I identify my struggle, and instead of just saying, "Oh, well, I struggle at night," what the fuck are you gonna do about it, right? You got to do something about it, but you won't do anything about it unless you identify why, and you identify that you're actually struggling. If you say, I had somebody the other day tell me, well, I don't really eat that much. I don't know why I'm gaining weight. Well, you're eating more than your body needs. Maybe you're not eating that much, but you're eating more than your body needs. You're putting more calories in your body than it needs to lose weight. You have to be in a deficit to lose weight. It's simple,
Right.
you know? And so it's about like a lot of the struggle that I had was lying to myself. So, identifying where you're struggling, identifying where you're lying to yourself, identifying those excuses, and then coming up using your why to come back to what decision you're going to make right now, what aligns with what you want most in life.
Yeah. And when you talk about the struggle part too, like, because once you identify your whys, then you have to figure out like your struggles and you kind of have to pair them together, is what I'm hearing from you. It's like
Yep.
not every struggle is going to have the same why that's going to be strong enough to back it up.
Right.
So wherever your struggles are, like that late night eating, because that's both of us, it's me too. And I know you were really good with strategizing. So that's part of your daily plan. And whether you daily plan here or you daily plan on paper, there should always be a daily plan.
Right.
I already know, while I don't write I kind of write it down. We have a whiteboard that we write our like weekly activities and stuff on. I have the gym first thing in the morning. Typically I haven't meal prep this week because I was away over the weekend and I'm doing one Wednesday, doing a Wednesday meal prep.
Nice.
But I still know kind of what my plan is. I know in my mind like what I have in there that I can have for lunch. We've already planned our dinners out. I know that I'm going to the gym, so I have that whole plan. But if I'm struggling at night, every night, if I just ignore that,
Mm-hmm.
I'm I know that I struggle at night every night. So what's the plan for that? I've
Right.
already come up with a plan for like, gosh, I don't feel like going to the gym or going out to run or walk or do anything.
Mm-hmm.
I've already fixed that. That's fixed. I have a plan every week for working out. I have my 2 morning classes of my strength training, and then the other like 3 days are either walks or runs or house workout or whatever. So I have that worked out. But if you continue to ignore where your struggles are, it's just never going to get any better. So if we both know that we struggle at night, one of just these things was, and I've picked up on it too, she would make herself a hot tea, which
Yes.
only because I had been sick lately, not even sick, just a cough. I've been making myself hot tea. I don't drink it fast enough, so I put it in a to-go container so it stays hot. But it's a little bit sweet, even though it's not sweet. I don't add anything to it. I just choose flavors that I really like. Like this one's a ginger peach turmeric, I think. It's delicious.
Yeah.
But it gives you kind of that like satisfying feeling. But I'm not adding any calories. As a matter of fact, I'm hydrating. It's decaffeinated. I
Right.
don't add anything to it. It is just what it is. So that was always one of Justy's plans, and I've kind of picked that up from her. I can't say it always works, but I try. I at least am acknowledging nighttime is where I struggle, and
Mm-hmm.
here's a couple of things that I can do. My friend Drea, she's like, Steph, I brush my teeth. I brush my teeth at one point of the night because then I don't want to eat anything to like ruin that. I've already brushed my teeth. I'm like, that's also brilliant. So I'm on the either tea or brush my teeth train right now to try to keep myself from like late night snacking.
And I struggle at night too. And the thing that I do, like Steph said, is I'll drink a tea and like a nice hot tea instead of, whatever else I have in there. I also have been making like protein pudding. So I'll save that as one of my planned snacks. I'll save it for later. So it's within what I planned today. And I'm looking forward to it. So I just but I plan a snack for myself at the end of the night because I know I'm going to want it. So why am I trying to not snack, not snack, not snack? Just
White
plan.
knuckle through it. Yeah.
Like,
But just
why am I trying to make myself suffer?
make it intentional, right? And knowing that we're very protein first.
Mm-hmm.
Protein pudding is a great option. I do the same thing. Either that or Ninja Creamy, one of the two. My Ninja Creamy's broken right now, though.
And it's great.
R.I.P. Creamy.
Yeah. And like today, I posted on our stories, I worked from home and I don't really work from home a lot. And I was struggling because there's Girl Scout cookies in there. And it was like noon or 11 o'clock or so. And they just kept calling my name. And so I was like, you know what? No, I'm not a person who gives into urges anymore. I didn't
Hmm.
plan Girl Scout cookies. I'll plan them tomorrow. I'm going to feel better about not eating them today, and I'll feel great about having them tomorrow because they're on my plan. So I'm not going to disappoint myself because that's not what I do. What I am going to do is go for a walk and break up this mental chatter that's going on in my head. It's beautiful outside. Sancho loves it. And I'm going to drink some water. I'm going to listen to a motivating podcast. And that's what I did. I came home. I felt great. I didn't even think about the Girl Scout cookies again until right now. But you just have to have this, like I keep saying, this arsenal of things that you're like, and this constant dialogue in your head. And I think our next podcast we're going to talk about is those thoughts in your head and how you kind of pivot them and change them. So that one's going to be really, really good because that's what I do all fucking day. I mean, I do it at work when I want to slam someone's head in the wall. I'm like, well, Jesse, you really can't do that. That's not going to serve your purpose. And,
Right,
well,
right.
I have to
You're
talk
too cute for prison.
Right, right. And it's kind of like I need to talk myself through it. And instead of me thinking like this person is driving me crazy or whatever, I have to think this is my chance to educate this person. This is my chance to coach them. This is my chance to make their day better, whatever. So I change my thoughts in my head because when you have a thought, that leads to a feeling, and a feeling leads to an action, and actions lead to habits. So that's going to be kind of what we talk about on the next podcast. But another thing with struggling is I've also realized that when I'm struggling, it's usually because I'm asking too much of myself.
Mm-hmm.
So, when I'm really struggling, like I said, every night I'm struggling with snacks. Oh, I don't want to eat late. Oh, I don't want to eat something. Well, maybe that's too hard. Maybe I do need to plan a protein pudding. Maybe I do need to plan an Ninja Creamy. Why am I struggling through this? Like, because my goal is what I'm trying to do is too much.
Mm-hmm.
And if you struggle over and over, instead of keep beating yourself up and telling yourself that you're a fucking idiot because you can't get through a night without snacking, give yourself a snack, but make it a good one. Make it a healthy one. Make it fit into
Mm-hmm.
your protein.
Yeah. I had that same conversation. So my friend Drea, with her and I talking, she's been working out a lot. They moved to a new place, and the place that they moved into, the landlord left behind a treadmill, a bike, a whole like weight room, like a whole
Yeah.
gym.
Hell
So
yeah.
yeah, I know where she had been going outside and walking, jogging a lot. And they had some of their own weights and stuff. So she was always doing a lot. But now she's doing like getting on the treadmill, putting the incline on, doing 6 miles. Then a friend will call, you want to go for a walk? Then she'll go for a walk with them. Well, today she's like, I'm just really craving something sweet. And I was like, girl, go get yourself some, like, go get yourself something because you know what's
Right.
going to happen. I was like, would it help you to just have a handful of M&Ms? I know that's her like kryptonite. Just have a
Yeah.
handful. I was like, because she's like, maybe I'll try, maybe I'll have some of the chocolate hummus that I have in there. And I was like, here's my fear for you. You go, you have some of that chocolate hummus that doesn't scratch the itch. Then you go in there and you find something else that doesn't scratch the itch. Just eat the handful of M&Ms. Like
Right.
it is your body telling you you are like she took a nap today too. She's like, I took a nap today. I don't ever take a nap. I'm like, your body is telling you something. Like you've been working so hard, like 7 days a week. Your body is telling you it A needs some of those carbs and B, you need a break. I was
Right.
like, so you have to listen to yourself in that sense. And I mean, and she's not overweight by any stretch, but she is doing the work to maintain her weight and even people at I don't, gosh, I don't want to give her weight out on a podcast, but I want to say she's like in like the 130, 140 area. Like she's really in where she needs to be, but she's still struggling. You know what I mean? She's still struggling. She's got 2 kids. She's trying to lose like the belly fat and that kind of stuff, but she's still struggling. She's never been obese, but she still struggles with it. I'm like, girl, just grab a handful. And she messaged me back later. She's like, I had some M&M. She's like, that's exactly what I needed. Like,
Yeah.
give yourself some grace. It is okay.
And then move
It's
on.
okay. Yeah.
It's funny that you said that. Another place where I struggle is with cravings around my menstrual cycle. And so, I used to fight it and just like, I don't know why I want chips. I don't know why I want salty. I don't know why I want this. And oh my God, if I could just get through this week, I'll be fine. And it's just constant chatter. Well,
Mhm.
now at my bakeries, we have individual bags of chips. Listen, I grab 3. I grabbed 3 the other day when I was there because I'm like, I'm going to plan these the next 3 days because I know I'm going to crave them. And I
Hmm.
know that I don't want to fight. I don't want to, I'm just going to and just have the damn chips and be okay with it because that's
Right.
where I'm at now. I want that salty. I want that whatever instead of fighting it, fighting it, fighting it, fighting it. And then on Sunday, go face down in a whole ass thing of orange chicken because I crave orange chicken too. Um, so it's kind of like I'm gonna plan my meals based on where I'm at and what I'm craving and what I know my body is going to be wanting instead of trying to fight through it.
Right.
But the chips, 3 bags of chips this month aren't going to fuck my progress. Like
Right.
our progress is not that our progress isn't that unstable. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
chips is not going to fuck my progress. What is if I start beating myself up over the chips and then I tell myself I'm never going to be maintenance. And then tomorrow morning, I'm like, well, fuck it. I had chips. Let me have pizza for breakfast. And then, at lunch, I'm like, well, screw it. Let me go get a burger. And then at dinner, I'm like, well, let's go to the Outback Steakhouse and have a steak and potato. Like that's when you mess your progress up. 3 bags of
Hmm.
chips during my period isn't going to mess with my progress.
Right. Yep. And also, like I told her, a lot of the times when you're not scratching that itch, you're overeating on what you think is healthy, chocolate hummus, to get
Right.
around that sweet tooth craving. Not to say that chocolate hummus is bad for you, but it's still got sugar. It's still just get the sugar you're looking for because what you're looking for is those M&Ms. And I know because I know her and I know her well enough. So I'm like, you're going to end up overeating
Mm-hmm.
trying to solve, trying to fulfill that craving, or like you said, white knuckle it through the day, and then come tomorrow, you're like face diving into something. So yeah, that's part of knowing your struggle. So I think that's the two things we really wanted to pair together today is kind of figuring out your why, breaking your big why down into smaller whys, and then those smaller whys are going to kind of pair up with your struggles. So that
Mm-hmm.
way you have kind of a why, a mini why to go along with each of your little struggles to remind yourself why you're doing this in the first place, and to think about wherever you are on your journey, think about where you started, and just know that the fact that you're listening to this podcast, or have
Mm-hmm.
listened to all of our podcasts or some of our podcasts, or following us on Instagram, or you're doing the work of just trying to learn and teach yourself, that's progress.
Mm-hmm.
And that needs to be celebrated. Don't overlook that, because while you may not be exactly where you want to be, you are doing work to try to get to where you need to be. So
Right.
that's our advice to getting this motivation kicked off. Your big why, break it down into smaller whys, figure out where you're struggling, and then we'll come back again on another podcast with some more pieces to add to the puzzle.
Yeah, and the pieces that we're going to be adding is really kind of going over like I call it the most mindset, like what do I want most? And then also learning how to reframe your thoughts. And then once you kind of are making those decisions that align with what you want most and you're starting to reframe your thoughts, is really the thing that kind of brings that all together, is really celebrating your wins. And because that's going to add to the motivation of doing it the same way next time or doing it better next time,
Hmm.
what have you. So like celebrating your wins is so, so important. Like I remember the first time I put a towel around myself that wasn't a beach towel. And, you know, and I'm so far away from that. But now when I go to the store and I put on a size 10 pants and they fit like a glove and my ass looks great in them, that's a win. Like I almost FaceTimed you the other day in the fitting room because they look really cute. But or making just a better decision on food, like working through the why, working through the struggle, working through what you want most, and then actually following through with it, that's a win. Like that's amazing. And I was also talking to Steph the other day, and sometimes I bring church into this, but I'll take the religious part out of it. But he was talking about you are not stuck unless you stop. So anything that you keep going towards your goal or towards what have you, unless you completely stop, you're not stuck. So just one step forward, even if you fall a step forward, you're still going forward. And so
Mhm.
um, that's definitely something that we're going to be talking about as well in the next podcast.
Yeah, we have that. And then we also have somewhere in the middle of that, we're going to mix in, we're bringing what's turning out to be our most favorite guest on the podcast, Jeannie Boyer. She wants to talk about stress
Mhm.
and, stress and how that relates to weight loss and that kind of thing. And so you can look forward to that one coming soon. So that answers Justy's usual question of what's coming up next. So we just
Right.
unloaded all of that on you. The other thing that we're supposed to talk about, and I'm not gonna lie, Justy, I'm doing really bad at this self-care thing,
Ah,
but
I'm
and
not. I'm doing great.
I'll tell you, because I had to think about it. I really had to think about it. I'm like, what have I done since we last recorded? And I can think of one thing that I've done. Not that it's a big thing, but I started to on the weekends, unless like this weekend I didn't. I ran a 5K and went camping, but I started putting like some makeup on or dressing a little bit nicer, not like stretch pants and a t-shirt. I started to wear like jeans and match up a cute outfit or whatever and put some makeup on. And my stepdaughter says to me when I had first done it, she's like, "Are you wearing makeup?" I was like, "Yeah." She's like, "Why?" I said, I don't know. I just wanted to like feel good about myself. And I feel like, the weekends, if we're going to be like Girl Scout booth, like out, cookie booth or whatever, we're just out and about doing stuff. I feel like I should, I could do something nice for myself. Like I'm
Mhm.
not in the house all day. I'm not going to put makeup on to stay in the house all day. So I was like, I feel like on the weekends, that's something I kind of want to do. Well, if this isn't an ego boost for you, she goes, honestly, I don't think you really need makeup.
Oh, that's sweet.
I was like, well, thanks. I was like, I don't feel like I need it either. It's just more so like something to just show myself a little extra love. But it was super cute. She's like, I honestly don't think you need it. She's like, I think you're really pretty without it. I was like, thank you. Either you're telling me I do a shitty job with makeup or you truly think that.
Well, and it's, when you get dressed and you put effort into your appearance, you just step differently in life. And
Right.
so I've been trying to do that more also. Now I'm not wearing makeup to the bakeries. I wear a baseball cap, jeans, t-shirt, like whatever, right?
That's
But
me in the house here when I work. It's like, who am I putting makeup on for?
90% of the time. So, but I will say I have made an effort lately, and this is something I've struggled with, and we've talked about it throughout all of our podcasts, is me having a social life and feeling like I can continue to make good decisions with my health and fitness. And so I've been putting myself out there lately. And I went bowling one night. I went axe throwing one night. I've been just doing activities. I went out with a girlfriend for dinner, um, all of that kind of stuff. And I feel like that has really put a pep in my step. I feel like a little bit of a light switch has been turned on, and I feel confident that I can go out and do stuff and be social, and I don't have to be a recluse in order to stay in maintenance. And so that's been really good for me. I did make a mistake one
Huge
night.
step. That's a huge step for you though, because
That
you
it,
were kind of in your comfort zone, like, well, I can't be tempted. There's nothing in the house to tempt me. And if I don't
right,
leave the house, that I can't be tempted, but that's as good as white knuckling, honestly. So
right. But and I feel, and I'm a social person, and literally since before my surgery, and it's been over a year, I haven't even been salsa dancing or anything, and that's not me. And so I need to be me, and that's what I'm trying to get back into, but be me and make better decisions that I have in the past. But I feel confident I can do that. I feel strong. I feel like the brain work that I've done in this needed year of being a recluse, I guess, has just made me stronger, because I'm not allowing any of this progress to go anywhere, because yeah, and I know I can do both. And so that's been my self-love thing, is just putting myself out there. I'm thinking about signing up for a softball league that I can play softball once a week, and just be be my social butterfly, and not feel stress and anxiety.
yep, I like it. I like it. Well, we're doing things. We're not doing big things.
Yeah,
It's
but
and it's kind of baby steps for us because Justy raised two kids on her own and she's always put we both have put everyone else first. So it's kind of hard for us to do, think about ourselves more. We're getting there. We're certainly getting there, but it's like when you really stop and think about like, well, how can I boost my mood a little today? It
Yeah,
could be something as simple as just putting some makeup on over the weekends or, whatever. So that's where we kind of came with this. We want to have a self-love report out at some point
there's
when we have
funny
our recordings.
on Friday night when I was going out axe throwing. I got myself dressed up, and there's a gas station around the corner which I've never been to. And this guy was the cashier guy, and I walk in, and he's like, "Girl," he's like, "You are fabulous," and I'm like, "Shit! If I need an ego boost, I'm just gonna run down the
Let's come to
street
the gas station.
and go to the gas station." I was like, "Thank you, sir. My goodness." And so it's just you just feel good when you feel good. And I
Right.
spent so much time being overweight and then so much time not putting myself out there that even though I've lost weight and all this stuff, I haven't allowed myself to enjoy it. Have a new body and like I need to enjoy it.
Yeah. Yeah, for
Yep.
sure.
So
For sure. Well, look forward to our next, the next part to our motivation train. The next part of that. Plus, us having Jeannie back on to talk about stress, which, all of it goes together, honestly. So,
yeah.
um, and then on top of that, I will remind you again, like we just look forward to any, support that you can give, and we appreciate everyone that's supported us so far. We love hearing, getting a little message here or there, somebody saying, like Justy was saying, "Oh, I have all somebody that has everyone in her office listening," or things like that. It's just it's good for us to know that we're not just doing this just for because Justin and I can talk to each other on the phone all day long if we want to, but we want to
Right.
be able to give back because we have given years and years and years of our life to learning this process. So if we can help and share it, we want to do that. But we're trying to build ourselves a bigger, I don't want to call us a brand. We're not a brand, but we're trying to build ourselves a bigger, like, there's something more for us. Justin and I have more to give. And so we're trying to build ourselves up a little bit bigger. So we will take all of the likes and shares and downloads and telling people about us that you think can be useful to us. Like I said, we're looking at building some workshops out, and we're looking to do bigger things. So if that's something that interests you, obviously send us a message. Let us know what you feel like you could use from us. But we're brainstorming, and we definitely have bigger things to come, and we're excited for that. So any boost that you can give us as far as helping us to grow in the free sense of likes and shares and downloads and follows, we will absolutely take it. But like I
Yep.
said, we definitely appreciate each and every one of you for getting us to where we are today, because we thought the only people we might have listening is my sister and both of our moms. But definitely we've got a small audience and we appreciate it.
Yep. Awesome. Well, we will
All
talk to
right.
you next.
Yeah, see you next time. Bye.
Bye.